I decided to go live, and I plan to go live every Monday because I'm doing the 100-day project. For those who don't know, the 100-day project is an amazing project. It happens every year and has been going on for many, many years, where people globally are doing this project together. They're picking one project, bite-sized, simple, that they can do, and they're working on it every day for 100 days. And this is my second year. I know people who have been doing it 8, 9, 10 years. And so that's incredible. I'm interested, is anybody doing the 100-day project? You could just put in the comments, me, if you're doing it. That would be great. I would love to hear what you're doing. So my project, I decided, is going to be 100 days of bits and pieces. And it's because I just love collage. And so I'm going to be doing pieces of bits and pieces, piecing my collage together. Now, I have Middletown in Connecticut. Oh, you're not that far from me. Well, Connecticut, but still. Welcome, welcome. Anybody else? Who else? Where you're watching from? Yes, so my project is bits and pieces, 100 days of bits and pieces. Last year, and now my bits and pieces are, I'm going to be using 4x4 on paper. This is watercolor paper, 4 inches by 4 inches. So the trick about the 100-day project is to keep it bite-sized, to keep it something that you're capable of doing. It's easy enough. You can spend a little longer if you want to, a little shorter, but it's quick, it's easy enough, and that you love it, that it really brings you joy. Last year, I did 3x3 mini canvases, and I can show you some of these another time or later. But those were absolute fun. They were paintings, so 3x3 mini canvases, paintings, acrylic paintings, and I had a lot of fun. This one is on paper, and it's only collage. I might use some painted paper or whatever, but I'm not using any paint on it. Maybe at the end I use paint pens, and that's just to embellish and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing for my project. And I just got so fired up with the project. I think I like it even more than last year's. And last year I loved my project. But this is just proven to be so free, so much energy I'm getting from just doing this. So what inspired me to do this was last fall, I started to do, and I'm always in my journals, my gratitude journals, etc. And I started to explore, because I have tons of magazines. I cut out all these model images in magazines, and then I started to embellish on them. I dry brush painted on them. I doodled, I drew, I collaged on top, and it was really firing me up. So that at this time I decided I wanted to use the magazines again. I also was inspired by January. I did a challenge, and a lot of you who follow me on my free Facebook group, that is Mixed Media Gratitude Art Journals with Alison Wells. We did a little challenge where we art journaled every day for the month of January. And my whole challenge was I wanted to use that big bag, this big stash of scrap paper that I hoarded. And I know a lot of you do the same thing too. So I did that, and I was using it up, and I used it on this black journal. And so that fired me up, and like, you know what? I didn't even dent that bag of scrap paper. So I want to use it. So this year, I really want to be intentional using a lot of my paper scraps so I don't have to get rid of them. And I know a lot of you love your paper scraps as well. So how wonderful. I'm using my magazines. I have a ton that I need to get rid of, and my paper scraps. So let me turn my camera and begin. Anybody else want to say anything, where you're from, or if you are doing the 100-day project? If you're not doing the 100-day project, you're free to come along with me. Of course, 100 days seems very daunting, but I'm going to be here once a week every Monday. So maybe you might do it once a week. You know, you can do your own thing, or you can follow along with me. All you need for today is some paper. Mine is 4x4 watercolor paper. It doesn't have to be watercolor. It could be any paper you have. And I'm keeping it small. You can make yours bigger. You could do yours in a journal, you know, and get a magazine and some cutouts. I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to switch the camera down, and we're going to begin. All right. So mine, you see, there. All right. Oh, you do the project in Denmark? Excellent. Denmark. I have family in Denmark. My cousins, my aunt are there. I've been to Denmark a few times. Beautiful, beautiful place. I love the Danes. Mosaic stamps. Excellent. How's it going so far? Because we're on day 9. So here it is. This is what I started so far. I'm so excited. So I am using cutout pictures of models or figures in magazines, okay? Now, if you want to do this project, you can do the same, or you could just choose something that's a focal point. These ladies, these models are my focal point. So you could use an animal, you can use a house, a shoe, or whatever will be your focal point, or a flower. I also love flowers, and I can't wait till spring. So I'm doing a lot. I love embellishing and having these flower heads, flowers on their heads, flowers as their bodies, etc. So I take some time and I cut out all of my flowers. So I have a bunch of that, and I cut out my models. So this is what I've done so far in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8 days so far. I'm going to do my number 9. Okay, so everybody can see? Yes. All right, so these are what I've done, and I've just loved them. And I have my favorites, but we'll talk about that after. But think about it. When you look at all of these, there's a focal point. So the focal point is what your eye goes to immediately. So I want my figures to be my focal point. There's also other things going on, the florals. I wanted to enhance my figure. Sometimes I have it as a headdress, like a headpiece. Sometimes I have it on an eye. I block the whole face, or I include an eye or not, depending on how I feel. Okay, so, and I'm thinking about composition. So when I'm doing this, I will talk about composition each time. A very important part of composition that I always talk about is value, contrast and value is light and dark. So you can see in different areas what pops out. I want the head to pop out. The hair is dark, the background is light. It doesn't have to be, just blank, but it needs to be a lighter version to what you're seeing here. So wherever you see contrasting values, always works very well. So you want to think of that when you're building your piece. Okay, so I'm going to move these up. All right, out of the way so it doesn't. Okay. So these here, check these out. So I like to just get prepared. So I would sit one night watching Netflix and just go through my magazines, and I just start cutting out my models, the Miss Maya Angelou, figures, models, anything, and making sure they're small enough or large enough that they can fit. As because I'm using a small format, most of them are, up to the chest, so head and chest kind of thing. So these are all mine. So I'm excited about that. So I have that in a pile, and I decide on what I do. So I look through them. I also go through my magazines, have a lot of garden, floral magazines, different things that I can get my flowers from. You can also go online, print it out, Google it, print it out, cut them out, okay? So I have all of these that excite me, greens, flowers, etc. I took some time and cut my watercolor paper. As I said, you can use any paper you want. Just a little sturdier because we're using collage, but the collage material I'm using are all magazine paper, very thin. So that's my square. I love working in a square format as well. You can do this in a rectangular format, vertical, horizontal, but I love this square. Now these are some of my journal pages. So I love to gratitude journal. That keeps me sane and it keeps me thinking more positive. And so it's a practice I've always done. And now I've incorporated it into my art journals. So, and then I have some book paper, because these make lovely backgrounds, you know, lovely backgrounds, book paper, and I just put some paint on it. These are straight from my books. I just put some white paint over, you know, I'd like to like obscure it a bit, because you don't want to read, even if it might be private for you, you still don't want to see words fully, but you want the essence of it. So it's gratitude journals or whatever, it's the essence of that in there. So I have that, some more of my book paper. I love this aged book paper. Okay, good. So I'm just going to quickly go right ahead. So I'm going to get one of these, and I'm doing day 9. So what I usually do is go through and I see what image I want to use. It's usually, you know, some of these are larger, but I don't mind having a large face on it. It could be smaller. Okay, I like this one. I think I'm going to use. Right? So at this point, you're not gluing anything. You're just placing things down, seeing what you might want to use. Placing things down. Now, as you could see in some of them that I used, I did backgrounds where I used my journal writings. So I just covered the entire thing first with the journal writing, and then I placed things on top. Now, every time when I teach, whether I'm teaching painting, whether I'm teaching drawing, you know, in the journals or whatever, always the key. And, you know, somebody in my art membership said they learned so much once I talked about backgrounds. And I always talk about a background. You're going from background, middle ground to foreground. Always start with a background. And even if your background might end up being obscured, you know, or covered up in other things, you have that foundation. So it's all about a foundation. So I love the book paper or my journals. I love piecing together these things. So it's all a matter of piecing things together. And that's why I called it bits and pieces. I love that. All right. I'm going to use that. So I've decided to use that. And what happened is that sometimes I may take paint and obscure the words so it's not like easily read, or like sand it down or whatever. Put a little, you know, paint on it. I'm just going to leave it like that, but I put it upside down. So because, you know, human beings, we're so left brain. The right brain is the creative side. The left brain is a logical side. We see words, we want to read them for some reason, right? So I always kind of obscure it in some way. So I just like to sometimes, I might use the plain white, like in this one. That was just plain white background. I didn't do anything to it. And other times I fill the entire thing. So I'm going to fill the entire thing. So I'm working on my background. Now you can paint your background. You can collage your background. But you need a background. Many times when I'm painting, I paint a background. I paint a flat color. I love working with like black. So I do a black ground before. So I'm just putting that on. I turn it over, and I'm just going to cut. Let me know if you have any questions in between. And feel free to do this. I would love if you do this along with me. And as I said, you can choose what your focal point is. My focal point is my figure with some sort of floral headpiece or floral body or whatever. But I'm incorporating the figure, and I'm definitely incorporating florals. So here's my background. My aged paper, which I love. It's upside down because I don't want people to read. And I know I'm using this figure. I love the green here. I love the pink. So I'm going to play with that. And I have so many different, I feel like, you know, everything, they all can work. This is too close to the pink here. Well, for me, I love how that looks. It's cool. But I also like this because you can see like some of these greens and it's picking up on her hair. And sometimes I really love when they overlap, like the outer part of it, like this one. So I enjoy when that happens, when some of them just overlap a bit. So I think I might do that. And the thing about this, some of them, I might leave the face and have both eyes. Sometimes, for me, it's too much. Other times, I might just obscure it and not have any of the eyes. Sometimes I might have one. Sometimes it looks a little hokey or it looks creepy with one eye peeking out. It all depends on how you would place it. You know, something like that is kind of cool. So it's all about, you know, changing your mind, changing your mind. Oh, I kind of like that. And I like how, because I'm thinking of composition too. Composition is how you compose the elements in your piece. Even though when it's tiny like this, you're still composing it, right? Oh, okay, so let me see. Some people... I'm joining from Kerala in India. Welcome, India. Bonnie's here. Bonnie's from my membership. Thanks for coming. Thank you. All right. So I like how that is. So I have one eye, and I think it's pleasing. And the little greens are matching the green here. But you see why I didn't want to do the other way with... You know, sometimes if you have an eye peeking out, it all depends. I just feel like that didn't work for me. I like that. I also like how the flowers are kind of curving to the left because that gives a nice composition. With composition, asymmetrical always seems to work better. Unless like if it's a graphic image where like in graphics and you're doing like a logo or you're doing something, sometimes symmetry works. But many times with painting or art, mixed media, for me, I was always taught a little bit of asymmetrical works nicely. So I'm never going to just put something straight in the middle and have it symmetrical up and down, equal negative space on both sides. So I kind of tilt it to the left. I have it like this, and the flowers are tilting over to the left. The figure is more to the right. So I have a little more negative space on the left and the right. I kind of like that. All right. What else? Do I want anything there? I like that curve. All right. Okay, I kind of like it. Let's go with the flow. At some point, you do have to make a decision. You could be there switching around the entire time and being like, what? So, all right. So then we're going to go backwards, background to foreground. So we have our background, and now I'm going to put the next layer. I like this green under here. So let's stick the green down. It's just a little bit of the green, and I'll cut off the rest. Look at that. I turned it around and I really love this. I don't want to cut into this, but I'm just a little piece. So I could definitely use the rest of that for something else. So I'm not wasting it fully. I want everything. All right, here we go. Okay, so that's the first layer. Well, second, you had our background, we put that part in. I want to add an angle here. And then let me just make sure. Okay, so I want to write around here. Now I could take it a bit, but I don't want to miss where I said I wanted it to be. So sometimes I just lift it, put it down. So I'm using glue stick. You can use any glue you have. If I'm working on a larger piece and I'm using a lot of collage, like I'm collaging the whole background in little pieces, I will use my wet glue, which would be the white Elmer's glue or my acrylic medium. Of some of that poking out. Nice. And then I can cut this excess. I do like things hanging, but not just randomly. Usually, like this part is fine, and then the head piece. So the thing about these is that we have these models, but I don't want to have their whole feature, right? I want to integrate it into my piece. I want to make it into my piece. I don't want to just look at it and be like, oh, that's somebody from a magazine. Like, who is this person? Because now you're trying to identify with the person, right? It becomes then this thing, like who's the person, the portrait, da da da. You don't want that. So that's why you switch things around. You might cover eye, you might cover the eyes alone and just have that, right? So then it becomes your piece because now, oh, the headpiece looks amazing. Good. So I turn this over. Oh boy, look at this. I want it all. I'm like, I don't want to lose that part either, but I have to. Okay, where did I say? Right here. I love the green here, and I love the peaks of green in this piece. This one comes out really far. You can cut it down a bit. I'm gonna leave it big and bold. We're going big today, big. All right, I just love that. Good, so what else? I am thinking I can leave it just like that. You know, I'm very painterly, so sometimes I might go in with some paint and obscure things. If I feel like the model or the image is, you know, peeking out too much, I can do that. I'm gonna leave it just like that. I like how that looks. But I think I want something else in the background. You can scribble or, you know, write on top of that some more. I have these circles. So I have a circle punch, and I punched the magazine paper, so using up all my magazine paper. I also punched into painted paper as well. Do I have any painted paper here? Yes, I have some painted paper, you know. So, you know, you can use what you have different ways. I love these circles because these circles give different elements. So these are big, but I also did some small. I have 2 punches, hole punches. Anybody does that, has a hole punch, circle punch, and use them. Because I have this little one and I love that. So maybe I could use some on there. Oh, this is like tissue paper. So this is just preference, things that you might want to add to it, to just give it a little body, a little buzz, a little extra oomph, but not take away too much, because there's a lot going on. But you know, the background has the words. I just want stuff to break up the background a bit. You can decide what kind of colors you want that go with the piece, or contrast. You know, up to you. So take some time and think about it. I kind of like those little polka dots, you know, it makes it fun. You can sit and think about, you know, what works well, which colors. I have so many, and they can go, they can contrast, you know. So, but I have to make a decision now because I don't want you waiting the whole time for me to make a decision. So I'm just going to use what I have there. I want, of course, I'll be thinking and thinking about it the whole time. Maybe a green. That's too much of a green. Oh, I do like this little one. No, doesn't contrast enough. So you want it to contrast. You don't want it to take away too much. I think I might just go back with this. I like the blue because it goes with this one here with the blue. Some of the pinks go with the pink, and this little kind of purple kind of goes with the headpiece. So I'm just gonna make a decision. Do that. And you could always go in and pull it off or stick another one on top, you know? Look at that. So it's very simple. It can take you like 15 minutes, a little longer if you're thinking about things. Take your time. Ooh, this was the other side. Look at that. So this was the side I was going to use. I'm kind of liking that a lot. I think I might have it down here. Okay. That's the thing, when the other side is lovely too. I like that. Ooh, that was a painted piece. Nice, 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 nice. And this piece, I kind of just want it going off. Going off the page, and we can cut that off. I think I said I was going to use the other side of this. Oh, let me do that because that has some blue in it. Okay. But of course, you can take your time and think about that. So many things you can do. You could have left that background just as it was. I liked it. I just want to make this just a little more pop. Why not? And so the great thing about the 100-day project, you don't have to take yourself too seriously. And you could really experiment and you could go wild. So you're like, oh, should I even touch a background? The background looks good. I want to leave it perfect. No, you know, step out of the box. You have 100 days to experiment. You know, I am probably after this live, will go in and add a little something else. Now you can take your trusty paint pens. If any of you know me, know I love a paint pen. So I can go in and do little things. Like sometimes I might highlight some areas in this pink here. Highlight some areas. Now this paint pen is, you shake it, see how it, kind of like, look at that. Put some splats, right? You can paint into it. I paint right into it. In some parts, I can use my finger to smudge, right? You can go in with the dark one, you can outline certain things, you can put dots. Again, if you know me, you know I love a dot and a line. Repeated lines, repeated dots. So you can go in and embellish certain things, you create lines or whatever. And there you have it. So there is my piece. Can this zoom in? Oh yeah. So look at that. Look at that headdress. I love a headdress. Maybe because I'm from Trinidad, we have carnival. We have these excessive and overdone headpieces for carnival. And also, you know, I love head wraps. I love African head wraps. I grew up with my mother always wearing a head tie. She would have these lovely head ties. She's from Dominica. The country Dominica, not Dominican Republic, Dominica. And they did a lot of these elaborate head pieces, and they would wear it for different occasions. And there would be symbols of different ways you would tie it would say things. So you'd have it tied if you were single and not married. There would be two peaks that come up at the top, and then it would be tied a different way if you were married. But I remember growing up and she would wear the head tie and it would just be so gorgeous. She would just wear a regular one at home, but then when we go out, she would wear a beautiful one. And I always saw like beauty in that. And so I always in my paintings have some kind of headdress or head wrap on my figures, my abstract figures. So here, let's bring in the others. So this is my day 9. This is what I got for day 9. As you can see, simple enough. I know you might think, oh, she's saying it's simple. But start with your background, whatever your background is going to be. You could paint a flat color on there. You can stick a piece of paper flat. You can stick a piece of painted paper, book paper, written words, etc. And then build it. But the most important thing, contrast. My background is lighter than my figure. There's a contrast immediately. Now, if my background was dark or near the purpley pinks kind of thing, it would not make a pop. So it needs to contrast, okay? This one is what I did for day 8, which was yesterday. And then I think this might be my favorite one so far. I love it, love it, love it. Look at my background. This is brown tissue paper. And then, when I put it on the glue, I just kind of scratch it up a bit so I can get some lovely, look at those lovely textures. But again, this is light compared to my figure and the headdress. Contrast. So contrast really helps. I love that. Let me just zoom out like that. And so I can bring in the others. So this is day 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2. I think these guys go here. Here we go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then my 9. What do you do with these? How do you store them? Oh, I don't worry too much. I just have them once they're fully dry, I could just have them in a pile right on top of each other. If you think, now I didn't put anything on top. So if I'm going to sell or give these away, I will seal them. I will seal them with a varnish. What I would do would be the acrylic medium. So the same acrylic medium you use to glue, you can use it. And I do a couple coats. You can do a matte or you can do a glossy coat. I love a shine. I love shiny things. So, but yeah, seal it and a few coats. And I would put I would really be generous with the coats because I'm using magazine paper and magazine paper can fade. But if you do treat it, like, you can put it on both sides and put extra on it and keep it out of the sun, it will keep really well. Especially you can frame these with little mats and frames. And once it's in glass, it will stay and it would not fade if you have that treatment. So I would do that after. I'm not doing it now. Sometimes when you have that medium, the matte medium on top, depending, I think the glossy ones, sometimes they could be tacky and they could stick if you have them on top of each other. So I would put like grease-proof paper, wax paper in between them. But right now I can just, once they're dry, stack them on top of each other and keep them on my desk. Or usually on my desk at home, I would just have them like this because I love to look at them. So I love that. Where you can store them together, you can put it in a paper, plastic bag or, clear sheet, etc. So these are mine. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it like this. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm having so much fun puzzling them around. Oh, there we go. Great. So did anybody work along with me today? These are amazing. Oh, they make me so happy. So that's the trick about the 100-day project. Choose something that really lights you up. And then you're not going to be like, oh, no, I have to do it. And as you can see, it was quickly. I mean, I was talking along, it's about 30 minutes I took, all in talking and all of that. But if you sit and make these, you can do it in 15 minutes. You can watch TV and just enjoy yourself. That's what I do. I watch my Netflix or I listen to a podcast and I do these. And the nice thing is that if you have all of these cut out, then you could just take your time moving it around, changing it around, but always remember, you know, backgrounds first, background, middle ground, foreground, you know, and then the highlights. What do you want? And contrast. Every single one of these have a contrast. And so I want my eye to go on my focal point, which are my ladies, okay? What is the contrast? Some of these are quite busy, but you want to pull them into, maybe the headdress alone will pull them in. I'm really enjoying what we did here today. So let me know what you think. Let me look at the comments, because of course I haven't been looking at the comments. Let me go back. All right. Bonnie says, it becomes your own piece of beautiful art. Yes, it does, for sure. Diana, I like the polka dots. I love polka dots. That's why I like the dot, dot, dot. I like the big polka dots, and I will just go on and on with circles and dots. All right, I'm always losing the chats. It's so silly. I have to get into that. Okay. All right. Looks like little gems. They are, Bonnie. Megan, what do you do with these? Oh, I answered that already. Thanks for that question. Lorraine is here. Hi, Lorraine. Bonnie, loving doing these projects. Yes. So did you do one today? And Susan, I put them in a sketchbook. Yes, put them in your sketchbook, in your journal. I love that. Yeah, so all of these things, yeah. You can do it right in your sketchbook. You know, you can have them separate. You can put it on a card. Oh my gosh, how beautiful is that? And gives that as a gift. You could have a whole sketchbook of those. You can do, you know, you can have one on, you could do one of those concertina books. They're in and out, almost like accordion books. And on each page, you can have one of these. And, you know, I just love that. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the 100-day project. And I'd love for you to join me. Every Monday, I'm going to do one. So if you think 100 days is too much for you, like join us each Monday. So you do one a week. Why not, right? You do one a week, and then during the week, you feel fired up to do a few more. So I think that's a great way of doing it. So so these are it, and this is my piece. Yay, I'm so excited. So I'm going to post this. So every time I do one, I post it on my Instagram. Instagram is Alison Art, Alison Wells Art. Alison with one L, A-L-I-S-O-N. Wells, W-E-L-L-S, Art, A-R-T. So that's my Instagram handle. So you want to see each one that I post every single one there. You can, if you haven't already, you can join me on my Facebook group. It's a free group. It's called Gratitude Art Journals with Alison Wells. And, you know, we do challenges together. People post their journal pages or what they're working on. Right now, some people are doing the 100-day project, so they're posting once a week. They will show, you know, a few things that they did for the week. When we do challenges, or if you're in your art journal and you do a great page, post it, share it, you know, comment, question, all of that. That's great. So those are the places you can find me. I'm more and more on YouTube, so you can see my videos. I'll be doing an update on the 100-day project, as well as my lives on Monday at noon. So we'll have like artists at lunch at noon. And then what else do I have? Oh, I have a free course. Some of you have done it before. So just go, I didn't put it, I'll put it down in the notes. But you can get that on my bio and Instagram, on my page. It is gratitude heart journals. Some of you know I love a gratitude journal. But it's a lot of painting techniques. So it's a painting technique that I use, mixed media collage painting technique. And I'm using negative and positive and negative painting, etc. So I do a lot of that, and I So that's called Gratitude Heart Journal. It's a free online course. You take your time, you do it at your own pace. It's at home or wherever you choose to do it in the comfort of your own space. And so, yeah, and I would love to hear how that goes. And I'd love to see pictures. So, you can tag me on it, Gratitude Heart Journal. And then another place that I'm on my membership. So I have an art membership called Grateful Palette. Some of my members are in here, and I love how you guys support me. Thank you. I love seeing you popping up all over. And a lot of the members say it's just opened their mind to so many things. And it's not just technique, because I teach a lot of technique. I'm a painter, a mixed media artist, but it's about community. It's about supporting each other, and it's a safe place to create, a safe place to get ideas. And also, it is a place where you come together in community, because making art could be such a lonely thing. So let me just turn my camera. Yay! Thank you everyone for coming. So just to end up, as I said, making art is could be lonely, and I never used to think that. I used to take pride in, like, painters are, people, like, they shut the door, they can't be around people when they paint. We paint alone. And I have been painting and creating alone for a long time. And then it only dawned on me, it's like, oh my gosh, it was during when people were all at home 3 years ago that I started to go online, and this community online is amazing. So even now, hanging out with you guys, doing a little art, hearing what you have to say, it's really encouraging, and it makes you feel like you're not in this little bubble alone. And it's nice to hear comments. It's nice for people to come together, work together, do all of these things. So that's why I started a membership. I mean, where has I been all my life? Like, I need it as much as my members need it. And we feed off of each other. We create, we become more creative, and we think out of the box. So we learn techniques, but it also opens our minds. And what I love is that there are people who do different types of art, and this opens them up in a new way and makes that art even, we have watercolorists, and they're doing mixed media collages, and in the journals and pieces, etc. Let me see anything else before we leave that you have. Yes, thank you, Bonnie. Yes, we do have a lot of fun. It's something when people come together with similar interests, and we can talk about art, and you just understand, like, my husband is not an artist, but he has an artistic eye. But there's so much I can talk to him about. He's like, oh my gosh, talking more about art again. Oh, like, we talk about it, but then it's like, oh, enough. But with my art people online, oh my gosh, we just talking about art, exploring new things. Okay, just looking to see if there are any more questions or comments. On a card, yes, Susan, on a card. I love cards. These will make beautiful cards. How you collect your magazines? Well, you could, there are many things. So of course, you can go to the library. They give away sometimes at the library or sell them really cheap. Stores, the thrift stores, etc. I got a lot of mine just through friends who know I'm an artist, and many people want to get rid of their magazines. So they come to my studio and they drop it off. They're like, hey, I have a big box for you. I'm like, bring it in. Now I'm actually telling people, okay, that's enough. I have so many, but I have some nice ones too. I have my National Geographic, and I can't bring myself to cut some of those images. They're too, amazing. But I have made some lovely collages from the National Geographic as well. You can find magazines at charity shops. Yes, Lorraine, thanks for that. Tuesday McNeil, this has inspired me to get started. Oh, I'm so happy. Yes, so next Monday, please work along with me. We'll just do like a 30 minutes or so. Susan, yes, thank you, Lorraine. Do you know what size square Alison was working with? I'll answer that. 4 by 4. 4 inches by 4 inches. But it's really up to you. I just wanted for it to be doable for me. Like on the days where I really have a lot to do, like I don't want to feel like I'm doing this full page, So 4 by 4 was doable for me. It's not too small, not too big. And I just got it from a watercolor book. So it's not that heavy, not a thick, might be 140 pounds watercolor paper. You can use any paper. You can use Bristol, cardstock, you know, just a little sturdier. Yeah. Colored paper is great too. You know, I loved working on the black paper when I did those journals in January. So that was always fun. Any other questions? Okay. And I'm just trying to see if there are any other questions. I don't know why it is so hard for me to find these. It disappears on me. Okay, so this was fun. Thank you everyone for coming out. This was really fun. So I'm gonna wrap it up. So this is my day 9. Came out great. You are welcome, Susan. Thanks for coming by. I hope all of you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Trust me, it helps. It really helps to get my stuff out there so people can work along with me. You know, they can join me and we can work together. You can grow together. And so, and it also helps for other people to see me and for other people to know about my work and come and do my courses and classes. I have free courses. The Gratitude Heart Journal is a free online, and so you can do that. I have a paid membership. My membership is closed right now, but it's opening in April. So I hope if you're interested, please go online to my Gratitude Art, Grateful Palette, and you can go on the wait list. And I will add a link there. I should have done it. I'll add a link at the bottom of this video, but this will be saved and there will be a recording. So you can look at those things. You can join my free Facebook group, which is Gratitude Art Journals with Alison Wells. And yes, I'm on Instagram and all of that. So that's great. So thank you for coming. Lunchtime buddies, artists who lunch. So I will see you next Monday. I will go live again and I will do that day. So 100-day project. Let me know what you're doing. Okay, bye. See you. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you all.